Thank you, Prabhu. Jai. These are forest flowers.
What?
Forest flowers.
Beautiful.
Picked from the George Harrison's garden.
Oh, I see.
Any advice on this?
That's okay.
That's got us stuck.
1, 2,
3.
Try now.
Okay.
You okay?
Is that all right?
Yeah.
There's a purport in the Light of the Bhagavat that I talk about sometimes. You know about how the Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is good? Yes or no? Hare Krishna. Good morning. has its own life. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan Ishanisha Vatarakan Tat Prakasham Stachat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sanjakan Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gododai Pushpavanto Chitro Shandotamo Nudam Yadadvaitam Brahmopanishadi Tadapyasya Tanubha Ya Antartaryami Purusha Iti Shosham Shavibhava Shadaishvaryai Puno Yaiha Bhagavan Saswayamayam The Chaitanyat Krishna Jagati Paratatvam Paramiha Anarpita Charim Shirat Karana Yivatir Nakalau Samarpayi Tumanato Jvararasam Sabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Duti Katamba Sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratu Vasa Chinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladini Shakti Rasmad Ekatmanav Api Bhuvi Pura Deha Vedangatav Tam Chaitanyakyam Prakatamadana Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Sarupam Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayaiva Svadyo Yena Bhuta Madhurima Kidrisho Va Maria Saukyam Chasyam Mad Anubhavata Kidrisham Veti Lobha Tadbhavadya Samajani Sachi Garbha Sindhu Harindu. Reading from the Śrī Caitanya Caritamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 3, Madhya Lila 3, third volume, chapter 16, and we'll be covering verses 220 until 237. Nīlāmbara Cakravartī, the grandfather of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, was much worshipped by the two brothers, but Nīlāmbara Cakravartī used to treat them as his own brothers. Formerly, these two brothers had rendered much service to Miśra Purandara, the father of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Because of this, the Lord knew them very well. Raghunath was the son of Govardhana Majumadāra. From childhood, he was uninterested in material enjoyment. When Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu returned to Śāntipura, after accepting the renounced order, Raghunātha met him. When Raghunātha went to see Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, he fell at the Lord's lotus feet in ecstatic love. Showing him mercy, the Lord touched him with his feet. Raghunath Das's father, Govardhana, always rendered much service to Advaita Ācārya. Consequently, Advaita Ācārya was very pleased with the family. He favored him by giving him the food remnants left by the Lord. Raghunath Das was thus engaged for 5 or 7 days in rendering service to the Lord's lotus feet. After bidding farewell to Raghunath Das, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri. After returning home, Raghunath Das became mad with ecstatic love. Raghunath Das used to run away from home again and again to go to Jagannath Puri, but his father kept binding him and bringing him back. His father even had 5 watchmen guard him day and night. 4 personal servants were employed to look after his comfort, and 2 brahmanas were employed to cook for him. In this way, 11 people were incessantly keeping Raghunath under control. Thus, he could not go to Jagannath Puri, and because of this, he was very unhappy. When Raghunath learned that Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu had arrived at Śāntipura, he submitted a request to his father. Raghunath asked his father, "Please give me permission to go see the lotus feet of the Lord. If you do not, my life will not remain within this body." Hearing this request, Raghunath Das's father agreed. Giving him many servants and materials, the father sent him to see Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, requesting him to return soon. For 7 days, Raghunath Das associated with Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Śāntipura. During those days and nights, he had the following thoughts. Raghunath Das thought, "How shall I be able to get free from the hands of the watchman? How shall I be able to go with Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu to Nīlāchala?" Since Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu was omniscient, he could understand Raghunath Das's mind. The Lord therefore instructed him with the following reassuring words. Stira hoy khare jao na hao vatula. Krame krame phaya loka bhava sindhu kula. Stira hoy, being patient. Ghare jao, go back home. Na, not how, become. Vatula, crazy. Stira haya ghare jao, na how vatula. Go back home, don't be crazy. Krame krame, gradually. Paya, gets. Loka, a person. Bhava sindhu kula, the far shore of the ocean of material existence. Krame krame paya, loka bhava sindhu kula. Gradually, one who's engaged in devotional service will come to the shore of the ocean of material existence. Be patient and return home. Don't be a crazy fellow. By and by, you will be able to cross the ocean of material existence. Srila Prabhupada's purport, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.58, Samashitaye padapallava plavam mahatpadam punya yasho murare Vavam buddhir vatsapadam param padam 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 yadvipadam natesham. This material world is just like a big ocean. It begins with Brahmaloka and extends to Patala Loka. And there are many planets or islands in this ocean. Not knowing about devotional service, the living entity wanders about this ocean just as a man tries to swim to reach the shore. Our struggle for existence is similar to this. Everyone is trying to get out of the ocean of material existence. One cannot immediately reach the coast, but if one endeavors, he can cross the ocean by Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu's mercy. One may be very eager to cross this ocean, but he cannot attain success by acting like a madman. He must swim over the ocean very patiently and intelligently under the instructions of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu or his representative. Then, one day, he'll reach the shore and return home back to Godhead. I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to all the previous Acharyas, and to all the assembled devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhabeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sthirahaya. Sthira, it's a cognate in English, the word stand. Stane stita shrutikatam tandavan manobir. Advice by Brahma, much quoted by our Acharyas, headed by Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, in his interview with Ramananda Roy, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu asking about the supreme goal of life and how to attain it. Ramananda Roy had quoted this verse by the inspiration of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Gyāni prayasa mudapasya namanta eva. Jivanti san mukharitam bhavadiyavartam stani stita shrutigatam tanavan manobir ye prayaso jita jito pyasitais trilokyam. Which means that one should completely give up one's own personal endeavor to understand Krishna by intelligence or any other process that involves one's own acumen. Gyani priyasa mudapasya. Completely throw it away. Jivanti san means you should stay alive for one reason. Jivanti san mukharitam bhavadiyavartam. Or even if you just stay alive for one reason, your only life is to have a little kitri, maybe papadum, and some mango pickle and lime, so that you can be stout enough to sit in a Bhagavatam class and hear. And that's all you do. Jivanti san. You somehow or other keep your body and soul together so you can hear. Stani stita shrutikatam. You stay in whatever position you're in now. It's not so easy to change one's position in this world. And it's not entirely recommended, with a few exceptions. With ugra karma, one may move to a more sanguine type of profession. But Krishna, speaking to Uddhava in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, says, Sve sve adhikarya nishta saguna parikirtita viparya tu dosha sad ubrayor eva nishchaya. It's an established fact that one should one should understand one's own position. Adhikari means what level one could stay steady at. Sve sve adhikari. Ya nishta, again then comes this word nishta, to be able to stand on your 2 feet, to be steady. Consistency is more important than inspiration. Oftentimes people say, I'm not inspired to chant. It doesn't matter. Just be consistent. So Krishna says, Sve sve adhikari. Know your position, know your level, nishta, and be steady in it. Saguna parikirtita. He declares this is a good quality. It's a guna. It means you're doing well if you can understand and do this. Viparya, the opposite. Viparya to dosha, a fault, is if you try to do more than your adhikari. This is an established fact, Krishna says. So, jivanti san mukharitam bhavadiyavartam stani stita shrutikatam. And in steadiness from whatever complex situation one's in this world. And I've never met anyone who doesn't have complexities in his or her life. One should go on hearing, and by that process, Krishna helps. We know Shrinvatam Sokata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyan Takstohi Bhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Krishna is so friendly to us. See, he's the Surit. He's our best friend and well-wisher. And if we dedicate ourselves to the process of hearing, then he helps winnow out the complexities in our life and bring us to ever steadier states in our practice of devotional service. So much so that one begins to notice that by going on steadily in devotional service, Nashta prayashu bhadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavadi naishiki. One can see that one's improving, and notice that the complexities are diminishing to a point at which tada rajas tamo bhava kama loba dayashe chaitater anavidam stitam. There it is again. Sattve prasidati. This means that tada, at that time, or as we used to say as kids, when we were doing a magic trick, we'd go, ta-da! And it's very similar in this verse, because the greatest magic trick that anybody can perform in this world is to break free from the complexities of life. Become uninterested in that which is not worthy of interest. In fact, I read yesterday, which I'll repeat to you now, from a purport. It is common sense that whatever is a useless waste... Confirmed? Okay. It is common sense that whatever is a useless waste of time should be given up. You want to hear it again?
Yes.
It is common sense that whatever is a useless waste of time should be given up. And ta-da! At that time, by the steady process of Krishna consciousness, methodical and somewhat dispassionate. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Then one becomes situated at a different position in devotional service. It means tada rajas tamo bhava kama loba dayase. Nobody can overcome kama in this world. It's impossible unless there's an attraction to Krishna. And when one becomes attracted to Krishna by Krishna's potencies, and we know from Srimad Bhagavatam and from our great acharyas that the sound vibration of the Bhagavatam has great potencies. Jiva Goswami says, in relationship to the verse, Vikriditam Rajava Durbiraham Idam cha Vishnu Shadhan Vitona Shunu Yad Atavarna Yedya Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabhya Karmam Hridrogam Ashpa Pahinot Yacharehina Dhira. This verse means that those who hear about Krishna's Leela expose themselves to such great potencies, greater potencies from the transcendental realm that free one. Again, it's saying similar thing as Tada Rajas Tamo Bhava. Vikriditam Rajabudur Idam cha Vishnu Shradhanvito. If you're faithful, if you remain steady and faithful, Shradhanvito Nishudu Yad Ata Varna Yedya, then Bhaktim Param, you can achieve the ultimate form of bhakti. Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabhya Kamam Hridrogam Ashvapahino. He said very quickly, you can overcome the dread disease of the heart, kama, which is the cause of all our complexities in this world, by the potencies that come from the transcendental vibration, hearing about Krishna. And here, in this context, we find Raghunātha Goswami, who is enthusiastic to leave his position and come to stay with Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. His family was wealthy. They were billionaires. And they were also devotees. But sometimes in families there are different levels of devotion. I mean, it's good to be a devotee, but let's not overdo it, shall we? You wait, you get your education, you get everything in order, and then maybe sometime when you're older, much older, after you have given us children and everything's settled and you've done everything, then you give it all up. That's the system. But Raghunātha Goswami had a burning desire. He already in his heart had achieved this greed that he wanted nothing else in the world, even though he had everything, to join Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Amazingly, Caitanya Mahaprabhu had so many disciples who had come from opulent backgrounds. We know about Rupa and Sanatan, who are in a similar situation. And we hear from Srinivasa Acharya Tyakva, what is it? Taktam Turnamashesha Mandalapati Shrein Sada Tuchavat. Thank you. That Tyakva Turnam Ashesh. They were in this very opulent circle. They were with the most wealthy, most powerful people in the world. But Tyakva Turnam Ashesha Mandalapati Shrein Sada Tuchavat. Tuchavat means, say Tuchavat. Now say it with a little disgust. Tuchavat. Somebody offers you something you don't want, it's tuchavat. I was like, ew, get it out of here. And they saw this Mandalapati, this Shrenim Mandalapati, this opulence, all the pretension that goes with power and wealth. This is disgusting. They just gave it up. But they didn't give it up immediately either. They got a similar instruction as Raghunātha Goswami is getting here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said to Raghunātha Goswami, don't act like a crazy fellow. In due course of time, krame krame. Such a helpful phrase, krame krame. As you remember, we can only take the steps that are available to us now. And if we take them properly now, according to our adhikari, swe swe adhikariya nishta, be steady in the position you're in now. Don't freak out. No freak outs. Just stay in your position and ploddingly follow the process. Consistently follow the process. Vidhi bhakti. From that position, then, is pregnant with bhava. Kriti sadhya bhavat sadhya. Kriti sadhya bhavat sadhya bhavasa saranabhida nitya siddhasya bhavasya. Last line? Prakatyam hridi sadhyata. That Rupa Goswami says this in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhavasa saranabhida. From sadhana bhakti, which Krishna recommends in the Bhagavad Gita, doesn't he? That after he's describing how one could possibly come to the position, after Arjuna's question, of remembering him at the time of death, he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mama nusmarajujacha mayarpita mano buddhim mami vaishyasya samshaya. Doubtlessly, if you remember him all the time, then he says that you have to practice. What's the next verse? The word means that you have to practice again and again. Abhyasa yoga yuktena cetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partanu chintayan. Means that abhyasa, such an important concept. You perform your prescribed practice again and again, and don't give it up. Even if you feel bored, in any practice, you have to be diligent and be patient, dhariyat. And abhyasa means to do something again and again and again. So, Rupa, Sanatan, they were similarly inclined. After they saw Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, then they said, we're giving up our jobs. Even though they were making millions of dollars a month. They said, forget it. We're not interested. We're going with Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. They came clandestinely to meet him. He was nearby performing kirtan with thousands of people. And they secretly met with him And they were so eager to join with him. He had sent them a letter, and he said something similar that he said to Raghunātha Das Goswami. He gave this metaphor. He said that just as a married woman who has a lover, she acts very carefully in her household duties so that her feelings won't be revealed to anybody else. She acts as the ideal. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this metaphor and said, you should be like that. Meaning that your real interest is Krishna, and you act in your job very diligently. Of course, Sanatana Goswami invented a system that is now prevalent all over the world, and that is he called in sick. People do that but mostly for the wrong reasons. But apparently if you call in sick and you're reading the Bhagavatam, that's okay. But then the Qazi sent the physician to find out, was he really sick? And found out he was reading Bhagavatam. And then gave him an ultimatum. Rupa Goswami had already left. But it took him a year to take care of his affairs so that he could leave. He didn't summarily walk away. He had spent a good amount of time tying up loose ends before he could leave his situation. And of course, Sanatana Goswami was the next one to go, and he ended up being thrown in jail. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given him this instruction that bide your time in devotional service, and krame, when the time comes, if you're following step by step, then you'll get your opportunity. Bhaktivedanta Thakur talks about this in the Chaitanya Caritamrita. In fact, he refers to the verse I quoted earlier, Sway Sway Adhikarya Nishta Saguna Parikirtita, about taking your steps according to your ability now. And he compares our advancement in devotional service to climbing a ladder. And he says if you run up a ladder, you might slip off and fall. However, if you go up the ladder and you don't take steps when you can, he said, then your advancement will be distant. So once you put your foot on a rung, then you should then prepare to take the next step when it's available and keep moving up. Sometimes devotees claim permanent inability to advance. I'm not qualified. But this is also illegal. You cannot claim that everybody else can advance, but I can't. All right, that's proved by Srila Vyasadeva in the Vedanta Sutra. In the Vedanta Sutra, Vyasadeva clears this doubt, or this ruse. He says that because the Shastras tell us to advance and come to the highest position, therefore it's possible. Otherwise, the Shastra would be illogical. If we didn't have the ability to krame, take one step at a time and come to the ultimate perfection, it's like only Prabhupada's a pure devotee, nobody else could become a pure devotee. Only Muhammad could be in a position, and therefore nobody else can come to a position. Only Jesus Christ can come to a position, this position nobody else can do. But that's not what Lord Chaitanya says. In fact, he talks about how one starts as a Kanishta Adhikari with Komal Shraddha, but he uses these words again, krame. And he said, step by step, if you diligently practice, then kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhavasa saranavida, pregnant within that sadhana, called the Vidhi Bhakti, is Bhava Bhakti. It will come out of its own accord, naturally. It will manifest, coming out if you're diligent and faithful. Shraddhanvito, with faith. Shraddhanvito, nashrunuyad, you hear with faith. Faith in the power of the Bhagavatam, not in our own power to advance, but power, Shraddhanvito nashrunuyad atavarnayedya. We have complete faith in the potencies of the Bhagavatam, and therefore, although we may feel inept, we also have to be patient with our own ineptitude. We may feel unqualified. We have to be patient with our own disqualifications and continue the process knowing that it has full potency for me to improve step by step, krame krame. And there are interim stages, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this metaphor to Raghunath Das Goswami, that it's like swimming in an ocean. I wrote our family business, and it took me a long time to get started because I had already written the book in my mind. And my editor was Kaishori Devi, and every time she'd contact me and say, "How's it going?" I'd say, "Great." She'd say, "Can you send me something?" And I said, "Not really." Then I realized I actually have to write the book. It can't just be in my mind. But then when I started, I felt as I was going on a sea journey. Sea journeys, especially if you don't have a compass or you don't have any way to measure how far along you are very difficult. And I felt during the writing of that book that I was in the middle of an ocean and that I had no idea when the shore was going to show itself. And then I thought, all I can do is keep swimming. I just have to take one sentence at a time, one word at a time, and keep writing. I can't write the whole book. I already tried it. I wrote it in my mind. My editor didn't accept it. So we also have to do that work. But we will come to the shore. It's a revelation that Akura has. Remember Akura going into Vrindavan, he talks about how logs float on the water. And then eventually they'll come to rest on the shore. Or same on the ocean, it comes to the shore of the ocean. Eventually we will come to that point. More than that, however, is Krishna's reassurances that if you're engaged in the process of devotional service, you will certainly come to the shore. Regardless of what you think your disqualifications are right now. Krishna assures us that if we're sincere and we practice devotional service steadily, not considering any defeat. Did you find that? I'll read you something. One of my favorite purports Prabhupada wrote. It's in the light of the Bhagavat. And I was staying at Govardhana Hill, and there were some devotees that had come along. It was about 20 years ago. And I'd come back from Govardhana Parikrama. They were up on the roof. They were like scientists. You know, in the Adi Lila, Chaitanya Caritamrita, when Kaviraj Goswami quotes the verse, Tesham Satata Yuktanam, you know that quotation in the Adi Lila? And then in this purport, Prabhupada says that devotees, they're like scientists. They study the Shastra and then they sit together and they discuss. As Prabhupada said, thoroughly threadbare. But you can imagine, you know, two overstuffed chairs with two scientists facing each other, a tweed jacket, maybe a little patch on the arm. You know, professor-like thing, professorial attire, and they're discussing scientific theories. So Prabhupada said devotees are like that. So these two devotees were on the roof, and when they saw me come up, they would come up quick, quick, quick. And I came up the stairs, and they said, I think we found something. I said, what'd you find? And they read me this, and they said, you sure did. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, it took too long, as usual. Okay. Here you go. You asked for it. Remember this. Right? Yes. Should I read it or not?
Yes.
All right. Devotional service to the Lord never goes in vain. Just at the right moment, the result of one's particular devotional service will come, even if one has no desire for it. You want me to repeat that?
Yes.
Okay, take a deep breath. Devotional service to the Lord never goes in vain. Just at the right moment, the result of one's particular devotional service will come, even if one has no desire for it. The pure devotees do not wish any return from the Lord in exchange for their service. They do not make business exchanges with the Lord, but the Lord, out of his own accord, fulfills all the desires of the devotees. Fulfills all the desires of the devotees. It may appear that a devotee of the Lord is becoming poorer and poorer in terms of material prosperity, but factually he is not. The typical example is the Pandavas, the 5 brothers headed by King Yudhishthira, underwent all sorts of difficulties because of the conspiracy of their cousins headed by Duryodhana. But in the long run, King Yudhishthira was enthroned by Lord Sri Krishna, and his enemies were vanquished. King Yudhishthira was never disturbed by all the calamities that overcame them, even though Lord Krishna was ever their companion. The Pandavas never prayed to the Lord for anything but his devotional service, and in due course of time, everything came out in favor of the devotees. A devotee, therefore, should execute his devotional services with full energy, endurance, and confidence. He should perform his scheduled duties. He should be pure in heart, and he should serve in association with devotees. All 6 of these items will lead the devotee to the path of success. One should not be discouraged in the discharge of devotional service of success. Failures may not be detrimental. They may become the pillars of success. One must have good faith in the regulative principles followed by self-realized souls, and one should not be doubtful about the ultimate result of such devotional service. Rather, one must go on executing his prescribed duties without hesitation. And one should never be influenced by unwanted association. There's one more paragraph. You want to hear it?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
We should not consider going back to Godhead a plaything. We must take it seriously, as enjoined in the scriptures. For a strict follower, the result is sure and certain. And when the time is right, the result will come of its own force. Dhruva Maharaj went to worship God to gain something, but when he actually came in contact with God, he did not want anything from the Lord. The Lord, however, awarded Dhruva Maharaj both benefits. That is, the Lord fulfilled his desires and also gave him eternal salvation. Such are the lessons we learn from all the revealed scriptures. The Almighty God awards the results we desire, and therefore we should desire that which is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. In devotional service, we should not endeavor for that which is temporary and useless. Thank you. How did that land? So I came up and they said, oh, we found something. And I heard them read it and I thought, indeed, we found something, a gem. There's a few more things I can say. But I thought maybe I could say whatever it is in discussion. So if you want to, at this point, if you have relevant questions about the topic, something you think will stimulate the conversation, you can ask a question. Otherwise, I'll keep yakking. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the wonderful talk. It's mentioned here, krame, you're talking about step by step. Could you expand that? What does those steps looks like? How could we practice that practically on a day-to-day basis? When you say krame, what things could we bring into our life which can keep us steady on the path?
All things are already there, but if we give attention to them, then they become ever more interesting and helpful to us on our path of devotional service. There's almost too much to do. I mean, if you look into our process, there's 64 items of devotional service. That's a lot. to perform those things. Even in the Panchratrik Vidhi, which is one of the tracks that we run on, there's a lot. And Prabhupada, when he talked in 1975 about getting an Archana Padati, he wanted that. And at first Pradumna was going to do it, but he got busy. I think Jayatirtha Prabhu carried it forward. It was that white, remember that white Archana Padati? Does anyone still have one? It's made out of plastic. Nobody? Anyway, that plastic doesn't last either. It also somehow disintegrates. But Prabhupada said he wanted Hari Bhakti Vilas, but in about 40 pages, which meant simplify. In fact, Pradyumna tells in his memories about Prabhupada when he's studying yagyas, and he was performing yagyas for Prabhupada, and he had these different ideas, and he said, this one, that one, Prabhupada, which one should I do for you? And Prabhupada leaned over, he said, shortcut. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives shortcut also, because when he tells Sanatana Goswami about the 64 items of devotional service, then he says, there's 5, here's 5 for you. He said, these 5 are so potent that even if you don't have faith in them, and even if you only have a little connection with them, you'll attain complete success in devotional service. That's association with devotees. You have to associate with devotees. Live in a holy dham. Worship the deity. Chant Hare Krishna and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. These 5, he said, are so potent. So we have everything. But if we appreciate the potency of what we have, and when we're performing it, we do it with a sense of purpose. For instance, Mangalartik, we may not even learn the words to Mangalartik or know what we're saying. You could say, Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasadam Rum, and go on for 30 years and still stay the Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasadam Rum. And if somebody asks you what it means, you'll say, I don't know. I just get up and go. But if we have a sense that when I'm singing this, Guru Ashtakam, I'm connected to one of the most important channels in all of my practices, which is, this is a power center, because I'm imbibing the mercy of all the previous acharyas as I'm singing this song, appreciating their activities, exalting their activities, and thinking how Prabhupada brought us the channel and gave that to us, through that activity. So whatever we can do, sway adhikarya nishta. My friend Satyadev Prabhu was a paramedic for 20 years. He had a horrible job. He had to work on an ambulance. It was like being in the war without wartime. So every day he was rescuing people who had been maimed or killed. I mean, not rescuing the people who had been killed. He was just recovering them. And he was not only traumatized by that, but he had to sit in a firehouse sometimes for 48 hours without any breaks. And during that time, I just remember he could sometimes only read one verse. And then I recognized how when we talk, he had become so absorbed in that one verse because it was so meaningful to him. It was an oasis in the desert he was in of that work. And it was his anchor. Again and again, he'd think of the verse and so forth. So just take seriously what we're already doing and think about what it is. In chanting japa, there's a way in which we could relish it, thinking that I'm doing the right thing, and keep our mind on the business itself. Which reminds me of another point I wanted to make, which is steadiness. What does steadiness look like, or what does balance look like? Krishna talks about it in the Gita, yukta hara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapna vibodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. He said in all things have some balance or moderation. Don't eat too much and don't eat too little. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Don't recreate too much, don't recreate too little. You just stay balanced in your life. And also, learn how to make a comeback. Because as we read in this purport, Prabhupada wrote, that failure becomes the pillar to success if we take it properly. And who doesn't fail at some point or from moment to moment? If we become steady by being willing to always make comebacks, not become discouraged, as I said, by our own ineptitude or by our own failures, and we come back from whatever we did, trusting Krishna's mercy, then that's krame. So I gave a seminar once called Anatomy of a Fall Down. And it was a Wednesday night class, which was not always the most well-attended class of the week, because it was a work night. But the night I gave that title, the place was packed. And I said, why is everybody, well, how come so many people are here? It's a holiday. And then I looked up at the title of the talk, Anatomy of a Fall Down. And everyone was interested. What does it look like to fall down? I later changed the title to How to Make a Comeback. Not because I didn't want a lot of people to come, but I thought it was a more optimistic and representative title. And if we're poised to make comebacks at every moment, even in chanting japa, you can consider that you may fall off the mantra after 3 beads or even after 2 beads. Are you ready to make a comeback? And if you keep making comebacks, then it's krame, and come back to the point. Why am I doing this? That's Rupa Goswami says, niyamagraha. It's illegal to do something just for the sake of doing it. And also it's illegal to stop doing it. So you have to find that purposeful way of doing things that we're already doing. And to whatever degree you can engage yourself, whether it's 64 items or 5 or even 1, be there and be very attentive, or as much as possible. And if you're not attentive, be willing to make a comeback. Yes?
I wanted to ask...
Can you wait 1 second for the mic?
My humble obeisances. Thank you so much
Krishna.
for your beautiful talk. I'm feeling really emotional about it because I feel like I'm literally here from Canada. I was in Nīlāmbara staying in temple. Now I'm standing here for 3 months. Just because I want to be close to devotees, I want to be among the arti every morning. And sometimes it feels like I'm never going to feel that settled. You know, like I'm always feeling like, oh, I need to read all of the Śrīmad Bhagavatams, even though I have them and I've read them, but of course it's a very big thing. So I know my devotion is like this, my devotion is this, like it comes out like this. I feel devoted, I feel excited every morning when I get up at 3 o'clock. People think I'm crazy, right? But I know I'm not, because it's what it feels like to me. But do you ever, I don't know, it's still a question. Am I devoted? Even though I'm steady, I have a home temple and I serve them, and I do it steadily the way that my guru said, you know, I just want to know if you ever feel like, okay, whew, not like I'm there, because I don't think I'll ever be there, but like at least a sense of peace in the heart.
Yeah, I think you're okay. Yeah, I think you're doing okay. However, there is definitely an interim stage where we may feel that. Krishna says to Uddhava in the 11th canto of Śrīmad Bhagavatam something about the interim stage may not exactly match what you're saying. So first I'll address what you're saying is that's sense of peace. There is, in the sense that Shraddhanvitona Shrunuvyad, when we have faith in the process, just like when you take medicine, you have to have faith in the doctor and the medicine. If you have faith in the doctor and the medicine, then when you take the medicine, you have a kind of peace, because at least it was diagnosed. It's the worst when you have some ailment and you can't diagnose it. Nobody can diagnose it, and you're going from one place to another, and there's no peace. But if you meet a competent person who then diagnoses you and says, this is what you have, I'm positive, it matches everything, and I can see the symptoms. And here's the proper medicine, it works, just take it. Then there's some peace. Even though you may be afflicted at the time from the same disease, you'll still feel peace because you know you're taking the cure. So in that sense, yes, we feel that. And Krishna advocates for that. Verse 11th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, Jata Shraddha Matkatasu Nirvina Sarvakarmasu Veda Dukatmakam Kamams Prityage Pyanishvara Tato Bhajeta Mamprita Shraddha Lordranishjaya Jushamanam Shtatam Kamams Duko Darkams Dugarayan. This verse, he says, Jata Shraddha means, Ja means to be born. Shraddha means your faith in the process is born. So there you are. Jata Shraddha Matkatasu. You know that the medicine is hearing the topics of Krishna. And Nirvina Sarvakarmasu. You know that all kinds of karma in this material world are activities for sense gratification. Veda dukkha makam kamams. You're disgusted with them and you know that they lead to misery. We're clear on that, right? Yeah. Say yes. Yes. And but Parityage Pyanishvara, it means that you don't have the power to still, even then you still don't have the power to control the senses. Parityage, you can't give it up. Parityage Pyanishvara. Then Krishna goes on, Tato bhajeta mambrita. He said, go on with the process and be happy to be in the process. Prita means then be satisfied, be happy with the fact that you've got the cure. Shraddha Lorjana Nishjaya, be steady on the process. And Jushamanam Tam Kamam, Duko Darkams, Jagarayan. Garayan means remorse. He says, don't be too remorseful. Be remorseful, but not too much. Just like asafatida, also known as hing. Those who are expert cooks, either they don't use it, or they only use enough, so when they use it, you can't see it. You can't see it on your fingers. It's just a puff in the wind, not too much. So Garayan means we should have that internal feeling that I'm not there yet. But we shouldn't become so disgusted that we become neurotic about it. It should inspire us that I'm going to be better, and I can get better. Not because of me, but because of Krishna's powers and his promise to me to help me, and therefore I'll stay steady. Okay, let's see if there's a couple more. Vishwambara Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's interesting, your narrative about, the title that you gave to your talk, and then many people, they turned up. What was it? The
Anatomy of a fall down.
Fall down. I've been observing for 46 years this phenomena. We have stalwart devotees in our society who do a lot of good things, very successful, and it's like you do 1 million good things and nobody cares, but then you make small mistakes and everyone talks about it. So that proves, the interest of that people showed, in your audience, that everyone's intrigued about the fall down or the problems that other devotees devotees they have. How can we dovetail, invert? We should be surprised. We should be glorifying, the good things that devotees they do every day, rather than waiting for someone, the same devotee, to make a mistake and then include myself. Why are we so attracted by the phenomena of fall down, the problems that devotees sometimes they face? And we are not very much interested in the good things, million good things that they do, they've done for many, many years. I don't know if you grasped my...
Yeah, I grasp it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's first time I asked a question. I have a lot of respect for you and you're very deep.
Oh.
Maybe you can go into...
You're putting a lot of pressure on me now. Well, some residents of Kulina Gram came to Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu and they said, what should we do when we've blasphemed devotees? And he said, then you should use the same tongue to glorify them. He said that the blaspheming of devotees is like poison, and the antidote is to glorify them, which may indicate that you have to be very deliberate in glorifying devotees. And it may seem uplifting. It's perverse, but it may seem uplifting to criticize others because it gives us a kind of excuse that everybody's in here with me. Like Prabhupada once said, everyone comes into the big group of people and so there's a hierarchy of qualifications in the room, but then a person of lower qualifications, so well, just for this meeting we'll all be the same. We'll just consider we're all the same, because that way there's no obligation to show respect to others. So that may be pervasive in the more material world. Icha, dvesha, samutena, dvandvamohena bharata, sarvabhutani sammoham, sargayanti parantava, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. It's the environment of the material world that we're so used to the survival mode. Other people should die so I can live. Jivo jiva sujivanam. One living being is food for another, not just physically, but also psychologically. And devotees then can cultivate a mood of appreciation. And we should follow Krishna. And what does Krishna say? What does Narada say? Let's examine what the Shastra says about those who are engaged in devotional service and how we should see them, even when they make a fault. You know the obvious one from Bhagavad Gita, so I'll come back to that later. But in the first canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada says, Navai jano jatu katanchana rajan mukunda sevan yavaranga samsritim smaran mukundang grupa guhanam punar vihatamichin narasagraho jana. He said, if a devotee somehow or other falls down from the practice of devotional service, he said, it's not like people in the material world who are fallen. And Prabhupada gives the example in his purport of if a rich man becomes, of a son of a rich man becomes degraded. It's not like somebody else who has nowhere to go back to. So in the verse he says, if somebody somehow or other falls down, they're constantly, smaran mukundang grupa guhanam pranar, they constantly remember their activities in devotional service, their previous activities. Why? Because once being embraced by Krishna, everybody's got a story of when they were embraced by the holy name, right? Say yes. Yes. You heard it and you said, oh my, this is Krishna, where are you? I have to be there. And once you're embraced by Krishna, Grupa Guhanam Punar, Vihatam Ichenda Rasagroho Jana, then he says, the Vishwanath Chakravartī Thakur interprets of Rasagroho, he said, then the ghost of rasa will haunt that devotee. They may try all kinds of stuff and try to do this or that, but remember Krishna, Remember how sweet it is. So he said it's not like ordinary people fall down. And of course, Krishna says, he commands us, api chet sudaracharo bhajate mamananyabhat sadhureva samantyabhya samyak vyavasito isai. He commands us. He said, you have to consider even those who have fallen on the path of devotional service, sudarachara, that because their intention was to serve me, and they're going on somehow or other, even now they're considered fallen from the path. He said, you have to consider them sadhu. Not part sadhu, full sadhu, Krishna says. Prabhupada says that. Because of their intention is right. And Śrī Prabhavati Dharmatma, Shashvashantin Nagachati, Kaunte Aprajidani Hinami Bhakti Pradashi. Krishna gets emotional. He's telling Arjuna, you say it, you say it. Everyone will believe it because sometimes I lie to protect my devotees. But if you say it, everybody knows I'll follow it up because he protects his devotees. So it's important to have a culture in our own lives not to become garayan on ourselves, that, oh, I'm nothing, I can't do anything, I can't do this process. And as equally important, we should, in our community, be encouraging to others to realize we're all in the same boat. And we should help people. And one tiny gesture that we get from a devotee to encourage us, because it may be rare, if we go out of our way to encourage devotees. In fact, maybe you could make that your main thing. What if for a week, every one of us in this room, we signed up for a new service? You ready for one new service?
Yes.
To be an encourager. And all you have to do for the next week to do this service is walk around and find something in any devotee, even the ones you don't know, that you appreciate, and then mention it. What do you think? You like it? You want to start right now? Okay, turn to somebody next to you and tell them something you appreciate. Don't leave this Mataji alone. She's right here. Okay, that's it. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. Now, 3, 2, 1. Doesn't that feel terrible? So if nobody else does it, you could take part in it. Last point I'll make, because I'm finished with my time, and that is, there was a book once I read. It was called The 1 Minute Manager. It came out 1979, I think. It was about how to manage, and the main technique was for the manager was to go around and catch people doing something right, and then appreciate them for it. He said, then you don't even have to point out when they're doing something wrong, practically, because they get so used to doing something, being appreciated for something right. If you don't say anything, then they'll know they must have done it wrong. So we have that license. Krishna opens the door for us to be appreciative of devotees. My wife and I come here from time to time, and we can attest to the fact that this is a glorious yatra. There are complexities in our own lives, there's complexities in the community, because that's the human condition. But this is, I could say, the topmost yatra. No, I'm not kidding, so all right. And it's a mighty sangha of devotees. The projects you can't even count. So now that Divyanam's here, I just remembered I was supposed to tell you that this year, in 2026, we have it's a worldwide collaboration. We have an international team, which is all of us in ISKCON, working together to distribute at least 100,008 Srimad Bhagavatams in 2026, between now and September. And I'm glad you're clapping because your goal, in order to help with that, we've done a calculation of who has to do what, is 1,008 Srimad Bhagavatams here at the Manor. So you better get cracking. And for the UK, it will be 2,008 total. And so, once again, the Bhaktivedanta Manor will rise as the, king of the Bhagavatam sense. So please think about it, apply your intelligence to it to see how you can participate. Make a pledge for something more than 0 and not less than 1. And as soon as you do that, it's what it makes of you to think about it, how you'll distribute one set of Bhagavatams. And if everyone does that, then it will far surpass the goal. Okay, Divyanam?
Yes.
Okay. And now?
I just had an announcement to make. Thank you. You can mention about the gifts, Maharaj, while
Mention about what?
the gifts.
Free gift. And in just a moment, when I end the class, which I actually will, I have a free gift for all my friends that I would like to give you.
So as you know, dear devotees, today is the Ramnavami festival here at Bhaktivedanta Manor.
Oh.
And anyone who's parked their car in car park A on my right hand side, right here, straight after the class, before you head to the breakfast, if you be so kind to move your cars into the geogrid or to the parking, because that car park is blocked for the coaches. Many coaches are coming, many people are coming today. So please do remove your cars so that we can facilitate a nice experience for our guests who are coming to Radha Govardhana, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, and Śrī Caitanya. Prabhu, was there anything else? That's it. So yeah, now please do come forward. So we have Mother Nirakula.
Can you move this?
Hand. She has together, Matajis can come on this side and all the Prabhus can line up and please collect this beautiful gift. Maharaj can show a sample of this. It's coming all the way from Mayapur.
I was going to give half to you.
There's another bag.
Maharaj can show a sample to everyone and then you can come and collect it.